Hey guys, I'm back with another video, so here we go. Let's not waste any time. We're making chocolate cake today. The first thing you want to do is grease two 6-inch pans and line with parchment. Now we're going to start with our dry ingredients. We're going to use some all-purpose flour and then add our granulated sugar, some baking soda, baking powder, and we're just going to sift that. Make sure there's no clumps. And don't worry about the salt. We're going to add that to our wet ingredients, which is what we're going to do next. We're going to start with some unsalted butter. And when you use cocoa powder, I'm using Dutch processed cocoa powder. You can use regular, but the Dutch process is really good. It's rich and brings out that chocolatey flavor. We're also adding our salt, like I said earlier, some water, and vanilla extract. And I'm going to put this over medium heat and just let this simmer. Now what this is going to do, it's going to bloom the cocoa. It's going to bring out some really good flavor, make it extra chocolatey. And if you guys were here right now, the kitchen smells so good right now. It smells so chocolatey. Make sure you scrape down the sides of your pan. Make sure it doesn't stick because the chocolate will stick very easily. It's 1/3 of a cup of cocoa powder in there, so you definitely don't want clumps. So right after your hot chocolate is done, you're going to take that off the heat, and we're going to put that to the side while we whip our egg whites. Now, I did separate the egg whites and the egg yolks. Put your egg yolks to the side. Now we're going to whip our egg whites. This isn't going to take long at all. We're not going to add anything to it, no cream of tartar or anything. I mean, that's optional. You can if you want to, but you really don't have to add anything. This literally took just a couple of minutes. And just do it until there's some stiff peaks. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to add our hot chocolate to our dry ingredients. We're just going to whisk that up until it's nice and smooth. And now it's time to add the egg yolks. It's going to help this be nice and fudgy. And when you're mixing this up, you know when it's done when it has the consistency of a chocolate ganache, basically. It's going to be very smooth, kind of thick. And we're going to fold in our egg whites. Now, I'm only doing half right now. You don't want to do this all at once. And when you fold them, be extra careful. You want to do this slow and easy. You don't want to mix this. You don't want to use a whisk or a wooden spoon. You're going to want to use a rubber spatula to make sure that this comes out, nice and airy. And this is going to take a while. It's going to be the longest part of this recipe, but bear with me here. It is totally worth it. It makes the cake both light and airy and fudgy at the same time, which is what a cake should be. Now we're going to pour them into our pans. I have my oven preheated at 325 degrees, and make sure you evenly distribute them. And you're going to see in the end here, one is going to be a little bit higher than the other, but that's okay. When they're covered in icing, you can't tell, until you cut it in half. And I'm going to just tap them a little bit to get some of the air out. The air bubbles, that is. You don't want to deflate your batter. All right, so that's going to go in the 325-degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes. This baked pretty quickly, 35 minutes. And make sure that when you take it out of the oven, just insert a toothpick in there. Make sure that no batter is on the toothpick, and it's done. And go ahead and take off your baking sleeves if you have them. If you don't, I highly recommend them. It helps the cake bake evenly throughout. And that's just going to sit there for 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, just take them out of their pans and just let them cool. Take off your parchment paper. And then it's time to decorate. And yes, I am using store-bought icing. There's nothing wrong with store-bought icing. This is me being lazy. I don't like to use icing. I don't like to make my own icing. I prefer to use the store brand, but there's nothing wrong with getting icing from the store. It tastes just as good. And on top of that, this is sugar-free icing, which means I can eat the whole thing in one sitting and not feel guilty. Now, when I put the other layer on, before I decorated the entire cake, I did let this sit in the fridge for about 10 minutes. And when I took it out, that's when I started decorating, because you do not want to decorate a warm cake. That is disastrous. Now, I do decorate cakes for a living. This is what I do, but I'm not going to get super fancy with this because I'm making this cake for myself, so, I'm not going to go out of my way to go super fancy, but I am going to show you how to do just a very simple design, nothing crazy, something that everybody can do. If you're not a cake decorator, don't panic, I gotcha. Now I'm just going to smooth this out. You want to go in one direction. You don't want to, go back and forth, back and forth. You're going to want to just try and smooth it out by going in the same direction on the sides. And when you finally get to do the top of the cake, just make sure you scrape off the spatula as you go on. If you don't have an offset spatula, I would definitely recommend getting one. You could easily get one at the store, no problem. I think they're about $9. And I'm just taking my spatula, starting off at the very bottom and working my way up to the top. I'm just using the tip of it. Notice I'm not moving the spatula, I'm just moving the wheel that the cake is on, and that'll make your life a lot easier. And now I'm going to do the top of the cake, and as you can see, I'm starting in the middle and I'm working my way out. Once again, my right hand is doing all the work while my left hand just basically stays in place. And I'm just cleaning up the plate a little bit to make it look pretty. Now I had some sprinkles in my cupboard. You can use whatever you want. This part is completely up to you. I just found some gold sprinkles, purple and blue, and I'm just, sprinkling them on top, kind of giving it a Mardi Gras look. All right, and there it is. And it's time to dig in. All right, so it cuts like butter. Cut myself a slice. Beautiful. And there it is, our finished product. And what's great is that it's both fluffy and fudgy. This is how a cake should be. Perfect. All right, here we are. The reason why it's like this is because, I wanted to get that cool shot of... That's my dog barking. All right, here we are, finished product, and obviously the reason why it looks like this is because I wanted to get that shot of the cake close up so you can actually see the texture and everything, and sprinkles. All right, so here we go. Taste. Wow. Yeah, I'm going in for another bite. Yeah. Yeah, that's the best chocolate cake I ever had. Alright guys, I'm gonna go eat the rest of this, and you enjoy the rest of your day. Be good and love one another. Bye.